What's up, YouTube? It's the Console Samurai with Grown Ups Gaming. And last week at E3, when Microsoft announced that the Xbox One would be getting backwards compatibility to Xbox 360 games by the holidays, everyone was very excited. You know, it trended all over the internet. It was a huge announcement. You know, got everyone all really worked up. And also, everyone kind of expected PlayStation, who was taking the stage later that night, to have a very similar announcement. But they didn't. They had their own big announcements, without a doubt. They had some amazing announcements, but one of them was not backwards compatibility. And you know that it doesn't look like they're even thinking about it. And there's probably a few reasons for that. One, there is a bigger hardware difference between the PS3 and the PS4 than there is between the 360 and the Xbox One. You see, the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One are built on very similar architecture, whereas the PS3 and the PS4 are built on different architecture. Still somewhat similar, but there is a larger difference between the two in that respect. Another reason why is, I believe, PlayStation Now. I think that is a major contributor to why PlayStation isn't pursuing backwards compatibility, because where the Xbox One has the backwards compatibility to 360, and it's not going to be all the games, it's going to be hundreds, so it's going to be good. Where the Xbox One has that backwards compatibility, PlayStation has PlayStation Now, which is a paid service that you unfortunately cannot buy games through. You can rent games, but it's not limited to PS3. It contains PS3 games, it contains PS2 games, a few PS1 games, PSP games, and PS Vita games. So it has potentially a larger library. And it also is not limited to the PS4. PlayStation Now is currently on the PS4. It's on the PS3. It's on select Samsung and PlayStation, or Samsung Smart TVs and the PlayStation Now. So it has the potential to be a bigger library, and it has the potential to be on a larger install base of different hardware. But the downside still exists of it is a paid service, and you can't buy the games. So if you have a PS3 game that you do want to play on your PS4, you have to buy it through the PlayStation Now. You can't just put your disc in like you will with the Xbox One, which, you know, it's unfortunate because I think PlayStation is missing out on something. They're missing out on a very big thing here. Now, there is another alternative. There could be a way to possibly, maybe you may have to lock it behind the PlayStation Plus paywall, but if you were to put a PS3 disc in that has a digital copy on PlayStation Now, maybe there's a way that it could run off your PlayStation 3 disc in the PS4 using the PlayStation Now, that you wouldn't necessarily have to pay to rent it. Because the issue with PlayStation Now and renting is the rentals aren't cheap. The rentals are actually pretty expensive. PlayStation Now is a good service, but it is not a cheap service. You know, I like the idea of being able to look back and play all these old games on one system, but it is not. It's not cheap. And as I said, you can't buy them, so you do have to rent them. You can't use PlayStation Now to like bolster your collection. But in reality, backwards compatibility is a big thing at the very beginning of a console's lifespan. You know, when it doesn't have a library. But both Xbox One and PS4 both have decent libraries already. So maybe backwards compatibility won't be such a big thing for the Xbox One. I mean, sure, it'll be very convenient to be able to play hundreds of Xbox 360 games on your Xbox One. But is it such a big deal at this point? Wouldn't it have been a bigger deal when it first came out, before the games had or before the consoles had their own life or their own libraries? But tell me what you think in the comments down below. Do you think that PlayStation is missing out on a huge opportunity by focusing on PlayStation Now and the future of what it could be, rather than the present of PlayStation 3 emulation and what it could be now, where the Xbox One seems to be focused? Tell me what you think in the comments down below. Once again, I am the Console Samurai, and I'll see you around.